How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Great to be talking to you. Sorry to be talking to you at this time. How are you feeling about it all now?
Feel good, honestly. Like it's relieving to see everything and like how it played out in its reality. So I'm super happy about the episode.
Now, I was wondering if you could explain a few things to us, and one of them is what happened at Tribal, because it looked like to me that Janine was just, checking in with you, seeing if you were all right. And then there's others saying no, she was asking for her idol. Kind of clarify what happened there, because I think some people are a little bit confused. Because again, it looked like to me she was just checking in on you, making sure you were okay.
Yeah, you called it right. Yeah, she was checking in on me, just making sure I was doing fine. Actually during tribal, to a bit more clarity, I knew I was catching some votes, so I was trying to undo because we had a 4-4 split plan. And then
Right,
I figured out Sammy flipped on us, so I was trying to undo the split because even with Sammy gone, we still had 7-5.
right,
So I thought. So I was like, okay,
right.
undo the split. At tribal, I whispered to Janine, just like, you need to vote James, do not vote Ryan. And she was like, no, 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 we're fine. And like, I was like, I think it's like, I was telling her, like, I think it's like I'm catching a lot more than four, maybe I'm catching five.
Yeah,
But that's why, like, that she's like, no, 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 you're fine. So that's why that happened. It was like like she had a lot more trust in Sammy than I did at that point.
right.
So it was just kind of consoling me, making sure I was doing okay. And I was like, maybe my paranoia got the best of me. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll trust you here. I'm not gonna like play the idol, not gonna panic and blow things up. Maybe I should have blown things up,
Yeah.
but
And now is that why you didn't play the idol? Because you felt like things were going to go your way?
yeah, so like I said, I figured out that it's the split. I knew Coco was putting votes on me. I knew I was catching four. And then like
Right.
minutes before tribal, I figured out Sammy flips because I like see him talking to people. So I'm like, okay,
Oh
so it's
wow.
five. So I was like, okay, they're putting five on me, but we have seven. So as long
Yeah.
as we just undo the split vote, we're fine. So I talked to Owen right before tribal. I was like trying to get him to undo the split, but our conversation gets cut short. So I'm like, okay, maybe he'll still do it because like he didn't agree, but I was like, he listened, so he'll do it, right? And then at tribal itself, because I could not find Janine beforehand, it was like literally 5 minutes when I figured out Sammy flipped. I'm whispering to
Wow.
Janine of like, you need to vote James. Do not vote Ryan. And she's like, no, 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 I think we're fine. I was like, no, no, you need to vote James. And then Jeff called us out for whispering. I was like, leave me alone, please. So it's like, let me whisper. Like no one noticed, but we got called out, so I stopped because I don't want to cause a live. Like I feel like if I cause a live tribal and people are actually on my side, it might cause them to flip against me.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, maybe she'll listen. Maybe she'll just like take my advice and like actually vote James. Neither of them did. So I
Right.
was going home anyways, but and also James, Jesse, and Cody were against me. So even if I did undo the split, it was not I didn't have the numbers, but I thought I did, and I was confident in my allies listening to me that I didn't need to play the idol. Because if I played the idol and they listened, that kills my game long term. Because then the people
Yeah.
who trusted me are mad at me for playing an idol selfishly and incorrectly. So it was like having someone else's idol is such a big risk. If it was my own idol, I'm playing that thing immediately. Like, I don't care. I'm like, oh, someone said my name. Nah, I'm not going home. Especially on
Yeah.
day 14, before like I know it's the last free jury day. Like, I like as a fan of like part of me is like I'd play that if it was my idol. But it being Janine's, I had this sense of, and this is just the person in me, not the game player. It
Yeah.
was just a sense of, like I feel so bad if I like wasted her idol because like my own selfishness, because I want to make jury or something. Like I hate people
Right.
who play for like only play for jury and stuff. Like I go into
Yeah.
I'm playing to win. Like
Yeah.
that's clear. So making a short term decision to make jury, like that's bullshit, and I'm not gonna do that. And that's why I did what I did. To be completely honest.
Now, something that kind of hit me from out of nowhere is all of a sudden you were this big threat last night and people were talking about you. Is there something we're missing? Like, what happened? Maybe you can let us in. Do you know of why you were a threat? Because it came out of nowhere for me. I'm like, okay, he's been in the mix and he's been playing, hard and playing well with other people. But I didn't understand why all of a sudden there was this like get Dwight out.
Cody.
And what happened? What happened?
That is all. No. But yeah, so from pretty early on, Cody kind of like called me the strategist all the time, even though never really talked strategy. And I was just like, you're just okay, cool. So it was like kind of
Right.
frustrating. It was kind of frustrating to like be labeled immediately for like I don't think I had done enough to get that to earn that label because I was like kind of
Yeah.
like staying low key. Like, but I was talking a lot to Noel Jesse, like the Baka Vessi. I think the strategy I came up with were to benefit all of Vessi. Like the only time I talked strategy to him was like before the merge. I was like, okay, listen, we have Baka's numbers and ours. We can work together well and go farther in the game.
Right.
Um, So I think that's where that came from. I think I got a lot of flack for that. Also on the tri-braid when he went to Coco, he called me the strategist to them. So of course, Coco is already just like hitting the merge, being like, hmm, interesting. That's a
Yeah.
problem. So that's why I wasn't surprised to catch all of Coco's votes. Like I couldn't control my first impression because of the tri-braid. And that was just very unfortunate for my game long term. Like Cody did a good job of effectively he did a good job of like neutering my game pretty early on. Like he took advantage of the tribe raid. Like the tribe raid is used to hurt another tribe. He used it to hurt my game, and that's a very clever move on his part. Like I'm not upset about that. Like, it's just like it sucks that it's me. Um, but yeah, he did a good job of painting me as a massive target, and also when the merge hit, and this is just small comments that you hear, but like I remember I was on the beach one day and I kid you not, I was tired and staring into space because guess what? When you're hungry, you do that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
someone made a comment just like, Dwight, you're just always like thinking about stuff. I was like, I'm not thinking about the game. I'm literally just tired. Like that's what like I like it's the small things like that. And I remember that exact comment because it was like they really see me as this like strategist and target. I'm really just like trying to chill right now. Like it's morning and I'm tired. Like back off. And then yeah, another thing someone called me like on the we hit the merge also like the commenting on the challenges as well of like because the puzzle and the two challenges before that I was like there's no way in hell that I'm making this a challenge thread. Like I'm sorry, not me. I did skee ball. I did two puzzles. No. I am not the athlete here. Ryan and Cody exist.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, they are built of muscle. I know. So
yeah.
I was like, please don't look at me for anything outside of that too. But it's a mess.
Yeah, were you surprised because you were close with Jesse at the beginning? Were you surprised at how things like fractured and they're just you guys seem so well together, and then all of a sudden you hit your bumps.
Yeah, I was surprised on that he flipped on me at that point for sure. But I was
Yeah,
like how do I say it? I was aware he's playing the game hard and that he might come for me at some point, but I didn't think he'd do it at 12 because like
yeah,
at that point I was really, I really trusted him and I kind of bounced all my ideas off of him and Noel. And I think what he realized and accurately is that I was closer to Noel. And I guess for
uh,
him, that was a problem, which I respect. I respect the decision because like that's a good read of if I trust Noel more, then maybe I don't. But I did act genuinely bounce everything off of both of them. So
right.
and like I was aware that he had a closer race with Cody than I ever would. But I was like, you know what? As long as I trust Jesse and Jesse is controlling Cody, I'll be
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, you're
So
good.
I
Yeah,
thought he saw the same as like as long as I'm with Noel pretty well, then he trusts me to work Noel and to never be against him. But you know, I kind of gave my allies a bit too much leeway of you have relationships that you're building, but as long as you're using them for my benefit, I'm cool.
right.
And
Yeah,
I think I should not have so much grace of being like, you know what, you have too many friends, you gotta go. But I'm just like, I have too much trust in those people to maintain relationships for
yeah,
our benefit. That's why I was like, Baka Vessi is benefiting all like this is literally the best move for all of us. But some people disagreed because to be fair, any power structure will benefit more people than the other.
yeah.
And I think Jesse and Cody realized that pretty accurately of Baka Vessi would probably benefit myself, Noel, Janine, Owen a bit more than it would benefit the others because we were really close. So
Now, what do you think happened with the Vessi tribe? I mean, again, there's a lot of fractures, and once you got to the merge, all those were exposed, and it didn't seem like any of those, rifts could be mended at all. And you guys seem to be going strong into the merge, except for those cracks.
yeah, I thought we kind of resolved that for the most part because like I said, like it was on Vessi, the only real drama was between me and Cody, and even then it wasn't drama. It was just like a
Right.
cool like it was like compared to Baka of like the Gabler Ellie fiasco, we were a damn peaceful society over on Vessi. So I was like cool. Like I like we're not best like we're not BFFs, but
Right.
I can work with someone who I don't get along with personally. Like that's who like I can put that past me and like not be like, oh my God, we don't get along, get him out.
If you have
And
a mutual goal, yeah, you can work
yeah,
together.
exactly. I was like, we can work together. And I guess we didn't share the same viewpoint on that. So that's it happens. That's the game. And part of me is like, maybe if I just just lent it to the I don't like him so much, I'm gonna vote him out. I would have done better. But that's just not who I am. I feel like
Right.
working with people like that's the part of the game. You work with people who are different from you to advance further. And I thought, even though Vessi, like we have our differences, we can still work together because we are unified. We literally voted unanimously our last vote, Baka, they're fractured. Coco,
Yeah.
Ryan was on the out. So I was like, we can literally let them fight and we will make it further as the four of us. And also, they had the idol. So I'm like, this benefits them more than it benefits us. I don't see why, like, if anything, we should be ones flipping against those two because they have the
Yeah.
idol. So I was trying to think from their perspective,
Yeah.
and I was like, there's no world in which they flip on us because they should win out in the end with the advantages they have. But
Now you talked about a bit about here and there about things you would have done and what not you were against doing and playing the game. When you went into it as a fan, what was your approach and your thinking about how you were going to play the game?
it and this I know this is like a kind of a non-answer, but it was really dependent on who I was with to begin with.
Right.
Like the people I saw. So approaching the game, it became just kind of get to as close to any people as possible and then just have people like protecting me. And that's what I did on Vessi. You see, I go on the journey on day 2, in
Right.
part one, because so Cody wanted to go and I was like, absolutely not. Like, you're not going, I'm going. I didn't want him getting an extra vote. And lo and behold, it was something different. But 2, I knew based on the bonds I built on day 1 that I was never going home as the first boot from Vessi. Even if I lost my vote, I knew like I had enough connections to no one would say my name.
Right.
And I was right. I never caught a single vote when I was on Vessi. No one said my name once when I was on Vessi because I built good relationships on the tribe. When the merge hit, of course, they took the opportunity to get me. But I felt confident in like the tribal game to where it's like, yeah, like I built a lot of bonds. And to answer your question about the game I wanted to play, just wanted to keep it low key at first. Like, I know the way I come off would be like, as Cody called me from day 1 or 2, the strategist or whatever, because I'm the super fan. And I was like, okay, that's gonna be my perception. But if I don't play into that, maybe they won't see me solely as that label.
Right.
Unfortunately, I still got voted out because of that label, even though I don't feel like I did anything to truly warrant it too much at that point. But I was really trying to avoid that as long as possible because you look at, like I said, winning games. You want to win. I don't want to go out there and just blindside every week just to make, a flashy TV moment. I'm going out there to win $1 million. And you look at the past few winners, the winners, they play a pretty consistent game where like they strike at the right time.
Yes.
And so that's what I was trying to do, waiting until I felt like it was the right time to make a move. Unfortunately, they all thought it was the right time to make a move against me at that point. And so, of course, I could always say, like, I should have made a move earlier. But, like, if I do, maybe I go home the next day for being the strategist who made a move. So it's a balance. At some point, you have to just realize the cards aren't in your favor. And it's just there's always a way out. But I think it was just hard for me to figure that out at the time.
Now, one final question. I asked this of everyone, all the survivors I talked to. Obviously, there's only so much time, on every episode, and the cameras are going 24 hours a day. Is there anything from your journey that you wish fans or viewers would have seen, whether it was a strategy, whether it was a moment, whether it was anything that was important to you that, you wish they would have shared on the show about your journey in particular?
I mean, I think I touched on like how close I was with Noel, and I was really close with Janine, Owen, and everything. But I think what they didn't touch on at all was like how I felt about Ryan. Like on that last day, and this is the only time I cried within the game. It was to Ryan, and this was like an hour or two before tribal because like I really didn't want him being a target option, and I don't think he wanted me as target option. But it was just the way that things were going that day. I felt super bad about it, and like I literally saw him, and I just like kind of teared up, and he was like, he could tell my energy was off, and like started talking to me, and like as a person, that meant a lot to me. It didn't really it wasn't like a game thing at that point. It was just like a just human to human, and I really that's something I appreciate, and I kind of wish I made the show, but he was there for me in that moment, which I appreciate. So that's something that I don't think was aired or talked about because I talked about how close I am to the others, but Ryan for sure as well.
Well, that's great. Well, Dwight, again, I've been watching since the very beginning, and you had this infectious energy, a lot of enthusiasm. I really hope that your survivor journey isn't over quite yet, because I'd love to see you again. But again, you brought such energy to the show, and it's great watching you. And once again, best of luck to everything in the future. And thanks so much for talking to us today. Really appreciate it, especially you clarifying all the questions we had. Really appreciate
it. Thank you for interviewing. Really, really appreciate it. Had so much fun.